So what is a method? Well, a method is a block of code which only runs when it is called upon. You can pass data known as parameters, and what's also really cool is it's reusable, so you can run it as many times as you like. In other programming languages, these are also called functions. Let's take a look at how you create a method. First, you start off with whatever the method type is. So for example, this method type isn't going to return anything. Then we give it a method name, and then a set of opening and closing curly braces. Then within that, we put all of our code to be executed. Let's take a look at coding one of these in a real-world example in Visual Studio Code.
All right, so let's take a look at creating a function. So what functions are they're reusable blocks of code. And what's nice about them is you can call a function from another class or within the same class, and you can use it over and over again. So I know that may seem a little abstract. Let's take a look at coding this. So let's say back in my player class here, I want to create a simple function inside of here that's just called, let's hit enter here, void print name. And inside of this, all I want to do is, or let's say print stats, is I just want to print all of these stats to the screen. Health, strength, movement speed, all this other stuff. Kind of like what we were doing here. So I'm going to highlight this chunk of code here, and I'm just going to hit Control and X to cut that out. Let's clean this up a little bit here. And let's get rid of this hello world. We don't need this anymore. So when I start to create this object and start adding a bunch of parameters within this, I just want to see what those parameters are to the screen. So back in hello world, back in player, I'm going to go ahead and just paste that line in there. And you can see here, we're going to delete this orc here, and we're going to delete this strength and movement. And I'm actually going to create one more parameter inside of here, just called string name. And I'm going to say, I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And so you can see that a little bit better to help you type that out. I'm just going to space these out by the parameters. So one more up here, I'm just going to do plus, and then name, and then plus again, and the name of my variable here. So what this does, it's lowercase for our variable name, is if I call this print stats, it's going to run this function here, right? So let's go and save this. Let's jump back into our hello world here, and I'm just going to quickly just do orc dot name equals Frank and I'm just going to click on line 12 here, copy, paste it a couple more times. And instead of name here, I'm just going to backspace, go to health, movement speed, and strength I think is the last one. So I'm just going to make these, just for the sake of time, 10 for all of it. Alright, so now when I save this, what I need to do is I actually need to go into my player class and I need to call this print stats function. Well, because we created an orc object here, I can actually just do the same thing where I hit orc dot, and you'll see print stats shows up inside of my inside of the drop-down list, right? So if I hit Control and F5 now, you'll see that your orc stats are, and the name, Frank, health, and all that other stuff is now appearing inside of here. So this was a custom method that we created just for printing to the screen. Now, one other issue is this is you want to strive for more efficient code. So having to type all of this out in here can get kind of cumbersome. So in the next video, we're going to take a look at constructors.